Hi, I'm Natasha Lockhart. Welcome to a new look on Studio Chatter.
Hi, I'm Stacy Bett. Who would have guessed that social distancing would have brought us closer?
And I'm Angie Murphy. Let's see how this technology works for us.
And we have a show that should entertain and motivate us. It's always a good time on Studio Chatter. Welcome to Studio Chatter. Has anyone been outside recently?
Definitely. I go out every day to get my happiness. What about you guys?
Definitely. Probably 2 or 3 times a day to get in my steps, to get in my sunshine, to get in, just kind of fill your cup with the sunshine and energy. However, I've probably made more steps or tracked more steps during this distancing time than I did last year, but I have the pandemic bulge, so it's not really working out for me.
We're eating so much more at our house. I feel like I'm just a pioneer woman. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing projects around the house, but I did lay out today in my backyard and it felt really, really nice.
I did yard work today and got some sun. Angie, are you cooking like more than once a week now?
You guys, I'm cooking almost every day. Like
no way.
Yes, I am. Yeah, honestly.
Your family's going to have a major adjustment when you get back to real life.
They're going to hate me. They're going to totally hate me. The pioneer woman is out the window when it comes back. Yeah, I'm even making like at night, I'll make fried eggs for the boys and oatmeal so that when they get up and get going, then they can have some breakfast. So I know, right?
They're going to wonder where Angie went when this all gets back to normal.
They love COVID right now. They're getting fed.
I love this time of, well, I love this time of year because I generally have, cook 2 to 3 times a week, but also it's grilling season. So it seems like we have fired up the grill a couple of times, that we have put a couple of things on the Traeger. So it's been nice because I don't have to do all of the cooking, but I'm also trying to use what we have in the pantry. So, and which I don't know if it was always the best choice, but we're getting back.
Ask you guys, are you getting ready every day? Like
no
makeup, hair, and everything?
No, I went like 3 days without getting ready, hair in a bun. I don't know. It feels good, but then when I got ready today all the way, I was like, this feels nice.
I know. It felt good, like Mia's Boutique is sponsoring us, and to put on like a fancy outfit rather than sweats and a t-shirt or jeans. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty fancy tonight.
Well, if you remember shopping at Mia's, I spend a good amount of time in this office space anyway. So I picked something kind of comfy and casual anyway. But I feel like I'm going from my morning ugly sweats to like my dressed up
dressy sweats,
leader sweats. So and we're not wearing shoes. So that's
the benefit of Zoom.
The sweatpants to go watch Tiger King.
So I have been having. Oh yeah.
Who's watching Tiger King? I'm not.
I watched one episode and it kind of freaked us out a little bit that we kind of stopped. I don't know. It's crazy. I had no idea that was such a big thing. I don't know of anyone in Spanish Fork that has a lion or a tiger. I would like to know, Stacy, if you can bring that up at council. But it's kind of scary.
Is it filmed in America? I don't know anything about it besides there's people that own tigers.
Yes, it's filmed in America. Okay. No, you should not go to Oklahoma ever. It's kind of one of those train wrecks that you get pulled into and you're just appalled that it's even happening. But I think it's probably perfect timing because of the world that we're living in. You're like, oh my gosh. And they were like living in this world all the time. So it's just.
So it's how many episodes are you into it?
Oh, we watched the whole thing. It's 6 episodes. It's a documentary, but I wasn't getting all of the jokes on social media. I'm like, who's this Carol Baskin? Who's Joe Exotic? Right. Who is this? And so, yeah, I mean, you can't help but watch it. Do you remember back in the day, Anna Nicole? Remember the guest model, Anna Nicole? Did you ever watch a bit of that reality show?
A little.
Yes, I did.
A little bit.
I did like it.
Similar, but different. So there you go.
Crazy, crazy train. People should not have tigers and lions within a city limit.
This is true. So how are we doing with social distancing?
Pretty good. I feel good. I kind of feel like when I was raising little kids, the first week or two of summer break was always such a transition. Like I was kind of irritable, and I felt like that the last couple of weeks. I feel like this week, we're in week 3 or 4 now. I feel like I'm okay. I'm settling into my new routine. I think I'm getting it. I don't feel as irritable as I was the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm kind of agitated too. I don't know.
Yes.
Being on my nerves, and I wasn't being patient, and I think it was just a new routine.
Right.
Different. I don't know. Regular routine was off, and so I was and that was not nice.
It's true, and it is very, very difficult with little kids. But I'm glad that you both said irritable, because it makes me feel better that I'm not alone. I literally chased a woman down in Macy's because she touched and moved my car. So people go to extremes to like wipe and sanitize your car, right? If I park in front of the Carrot, don't touch my car. Like, use your words. I was so mad. Like, it took me 2 aisles to get over. I'm like, you don't know if I have like something. Like, you don't know.
Did you say something to her?
No, I chose to be kind, but I literally like chased her like for like two aisles, giving her dirty looks. To let her know that I didn't want her, because it's real, you guys. People, I mean, whether we respect it or not, or there are people that are ill and really would probably freak out, or
right.
their cart was touched after it was sanitized.
Okay.
Anyway, so that was that. We're going to have to wrap here in a second. I just have one. I've had all these crazy thoughts. Maybe this is my outlet. I don't know. So I'm also by the buffet sign the other day. And I don't know which one. I don't know if it was Chuck-A-Rama, Golden Corral. They're offering delivery.
That's creepy. Like, what do you get? Just a whole plate of food?
Well, I'm like, I'll have the big scoop of potatoes and some chicken and some green beans and a dinner roll. But what do you do? Like, call them back for round 2? Like, can I have the ice cream? I mean, I don't know. I just thought that was super interesting, but that's Natasha.
Yep. Bread pudding for round 2. I don't know.
Okay. Well, this should be a really interesting show, so stick around. We have some great guests coming up.
It will. Do you guys, since we have a second left, our producer Pete printed up. I printed it up. Pete sent us.
Oh.
I wanted to read it because I felt like I could really relate, and I think most of us can. It says, and this, by the way, is copy and pasted from someone out on social media. Traffic is gone, gas is affordable, bills extended. Kids are home with their families, parents are home taking care of their children. Fast food replaced by home-cooked meals, hectic schedules replaced by naps. The air seems cleaner, the world quieter. People are conscious about hygiene and health again. Money doesn't seem to make the world go around anymore. And we now have time, finally, to stop and smell the roses. And lastly, we become closer to our higher power. For everyone, it's different, and more evidently praising them every day of our lives. It seems like this COVID-19 is a reset button for humanity.
I kind of had a new word that came to mind, and it was like essentialist, like kind of going back to the basics of things and just what you really need.
Yeah, we could talk for a while just on the benefits or disadvantages of this. We don't have time, so maybe next time.
Next on Studio Chatter, have you heard of the Highs and Lows Journal? That's coming right up. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Let's welcome Katie Evans to our virtual table. She has developed a great way to document your family's activities in what she calls a Highs and Lows Journal. we are all interested in this idea. Hello, Katie.
Oh, thanks for
Hi,
having
Katie.
me. Hey.
Hello.
Katie, we've heard Natasha talk about this a little bit. So tell us, before we jump into the journaling, tell us a little bit about who you are and where this idea germinated from.
You know, what I want to say, like, hi, I'm Katie, and the first thing that I want to say is I'm a mom. I'm a mom and I'm a grandma. I actually live next door to my daughter and her kids, and my other daughter is having a baby in a couple days. So we're really excited. Um, and we actually raised our family traveling full time in an RV throughout Mexico and Canada and the US. And so we just really wanted to find ways to strengthen our relationship with our kids. And we started some of our own traditions because being away from family, because we always traveled, we really wanted to just start some fun, like solid traditions with our family. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do with our products is take some of our favorite traditions and share them with everyone. So it's great. We have a son that just came home, so we are temporarily not empty nesters for a little while. So that's really exciting to have someone back in the house with us.
We're right there on the edge. We are almost empty nesters. We have a 17-year-old at home. So I appreciate the high and low because we have noticed it's somewhat tricky. Like we talk, but they give yes or no answers sometimes.
Yes. And that is, that's one thing we found with our kids. We're like, give us more, and that's the last thing they want to do, right? When you're like, so tell me more.
and
Well, for me, Katie, I'm a late bloomer, so we're right in the thick of it. So we have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and the interesting thing for us, I think, has been the concept of highs and lows isn't necessarily new per se. I think that it's been something that people have maybe gone around and talked about at the dinner table before. But I think the love that we have had fun with so far, and we just got ours at Christmas time, was to be able to write it down. So write and reflect. And I think it's so amazing at this time in their lives to be able to write that down and how we'll reflect on that in the future and how it impacted them and how it made them feel. I'm going to get emotional now just because we're having a birthday party next week and I don't know how to do a 6-year-old birthday party. I don't know how to explain distancing very well. And to have their little thoughts written down is very touching. So, and you talk about even older children coming home from missions or just the idea to have it journaled almost like a time capsule or to have it in their own writing is just, it's been so awesome to kind of go through that and the highs of the day. And right now it feels like we're a little bit in the lows, but to have it documented, I just think that's so amazing.
My kids are, they all have their own families now. Well, some of them have their own children now. And that's why we made the journal is I wanted my kids to be able to continue this with my grandkids. And it is so fun. We will sit around and we'll open up because when we started doing it, I had a little 3-ring notebook is what I would do it in. And we laugh. And the kids are like, oh my goodness, do you remember that? Because we'll talk about something that they said was their high. And to be able to reflect and go back on that has really strengthened their relationship. And it's been fun for my son-in-laws and my daughter-in-laws because they're learning so much about their spouses as they were children, because you don't really sit down with your husband and share everything that happened to you when you were 9. But as you're reflecting in these journals, they're like, oh, that is how come Tatum acts that way. That's how you were, or whatever. And it's really fun. And I think right now, we really are like we're making history. This is so different for the whole world. And so we're really recording our history. And that's one thing that really hit me a few days ago is what we're writing down is monumental. It won't happen hopefully again in our lifetime or our children's lifetime. And so this really is history, and to be able to record those feelings and like your birthday party, that's a really big thing. And for her, when she's 20 or 30 to look back and go, I remember that. And I'm so grateful for this experience or what I learned is really valuable for them.
Oh, Katie, you started this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stace.
Oh, no, I just wanted to see, what does this high-low journal look like?
Do you want to show yours? Or do you want me to show one?
Yeah, it's a beautiful book too. It's kind of this linen type cover, yes. And then So this was a fun thing that we've had too. So it's not necessarily like highs and lows. I mean, highs and lows are super important in all of the journaling that's kept there, but she has fun other on the opposite page questions in here. So what is your superhero name? So we have Super Gunner, Super Dad, Super Berry Bear, and Super Mom. That's what we came up with that day. But there's different questions. If you could be any character from a book, who would you be? So to start those conversations, and maybe even, and I'm speaking because mine are smaller, but to kind of step outside of themselves and even think a little bit, like, oh, I don't know, that's fun, or start conversation starters, I guess.
Well, and we started doing the questions of the day when our oldest was 13, and we always did the high and low at the dinner table. But at that age, she was starting to be a little bit more quiet. And so tell us your high, and it was a little bit shorter for a minute, or tell us your low. And we started doing the question of the day. And sometimes, real life, right? Sometimes our teenagers aren't really happy with us or what happened in their day. And we started doing the question of the day because we would ask the question and they would actually interact and engage. And we found ourselves sitting around the dinner table for hours, sometimes just laughing and talking, or what if you could invent an amusement ride, what would you invent? And then, oh, well, I would do this and I would do this to help you with this. And just that interaction of questions, especially when they're younger. I hate to use the word train, but that's what my daughter said. She said, Mom, you tricked us. You trained us when we were little to tell you everything about our lives and to tell you our highs and lows. You trained us as we were teenagers that I was just an open book. I just would tell you everything. And so I think it's so important to just get those conversations going.
I was just going to say a conversation starter. Sometimes with our teenagers, it's really hard to say, like, how was your day? How are your friends? But these are the sort of things that you get a glimpse of what they may say and maybe have an idea of really what's going on in their world. And maybe then that can spark another sort of conversation.
Yeah.
But Katie, also, do you have any other products besides the high and low journal that you guys?
Yes. So we're just launching some new products. We have a the funny things your kids say journal that's coming out, and then we have an LDS missionary journal that's kind of a prompt journal and a daily journal that we have coming out, and then we have a Christmas product that we're hoping will be out in time. With everything in the world happening, it may not make it by this Christmas, but it's a reflection journal reflection journal and nativity, where every night you take a piece of nativity and you move it. So you move Mary into the nativity, and there's a service oriented project or activity as a family, and then the reflection that the kids have from it. So we're really excited about that.
Well, I'll reserve mine right now. That sounds fantastic.
So fun.
So, Katie, I actually came upon you or was introduced to you by way of one of our other favorites here on Studio Chatter, Amy Rasmussen.
Yes.
Who also owns Favored Youth. So she's been a guest a couple of times also. So you two have collaborated somehow, and she has shared some codes with us. Do you have something that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, we'd love to give your viewers a 30% off discount code, and it would be Chatter 30. So they can just go to the website and that'll give them 30% off. We just want everyone to have it in their hands, especially right now with what's happening around us in the world, just to let our kids share with us what they're thinking and what they're feeling right now.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah. Grandbabies, your new grandbaby coming into the world, all of your babies that you've raised. How many of these journals do you have in your library?
Of our personal, we have probably 15 to 20 3-ring notebooks, and they're sticky, and there's like we do it at the dinner table, so there's like spaghetti fingers and chocolate fingers, and so we actually have a cover that goes on the journal. It's a plastic cover if you want to order a cover to keep it, and they are so fun. So now that we have a real journal, it's fun to watch my older kids. They like hold it like this. They're like, here you go.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I should have got a cover. Thanks for recommending that. Thanks for being here. It is creatingfamilytraditions.com. Good luck with everything. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, ladies. Have a good night.
Katie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Coming up next, we'll learn some ways to de-stress in the crisis. Stay with us for more Studio Chatter. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. If you're feeling some stress in your life right now, raise your hand. Welcome Jenny K. Province, a speaker, broadcaster, and online creator to the chatter. I think we could all use your help right now. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having
Hi,
me.
Jenny.
Hi.
Hello, Jenny. Hey, I was supposed to read the short bio. I'm just going to read a little bit of your bio because it is so intriguing to me, and you're so accomplished. Fantastic. But it says you are a speaker, broadcaster, and online course creator who teaches techniques to help individuals and families thrive. She's a former award-winning reporter and TV host and hosted 2 series for BYU TV. She appears in numerous television commercials, online videos, and podcasts. Jenny holds a master's degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Maryland and a bachelor's degree in fitness and wellness. I am just super impressed, sweetheart. Tell us more about how we cannot stress in our world right now.
You know what? We all experience stress, especially right now. But when we experience this stress response, our body pumps these hormones into our bodies. So like adrenaline and cortisol. And these are really useful if we're trying to survive, like if we need to run away from a predator. But if we're just sitting at home or sitting at our desk, it's not really good to have these stress hormones pumping through our bodies. And so we need to come up with techniques or coping mechanisms to help us calm down.
Is that why I'm freaking out with big zits right now?
So, Jenny, I sure hope you're going to share some coping mechanisms with us next.
Yes, the cortisol is going right to that belly fat, just eating the stress away. Yes, help us, please.
You know what? There are just so many results of stress, like you said. I mean, it's everything from chronic disease to we can see it in our skin. We experience depression or anxiety. All sorts of things can happen, and so we need to find these remedies. So, I've had experience with stress. We all have. I was a corporate wellness coach, and I dealt with a lot of stressed out employees. And I'm a mom, and I love it. But man, do I face a lot of stressful times during the day? And so I came up with this method to tame our stress. And I call it the Bee Tamer method. And so this is an acronym that represents 7 steps that we can do to tame our stress, to calm down. And so each of those letters is B for breathing, E for earthing, T for talk and thought, A for adrenaline burn, M for muscle relaxation, E for eat right, and R for rest. So we're going to break down some of those today.
Yeah, let's do.
Awesome.
Okay.
Let's start with B.
Yes.
Okay, so B is for breathing. So when you get stressed out, what do? You start doing these short, shallow breaths, right? Like our shoulders rise, called thoracic breathing, that's high up in our chest. Now, that kind of breathing actually perpetuates stress. It makes it continue. And so what we really want to do is diaphragmatic breathing or abdominal breathing. So there's this muscle called the diaphragm, and it's in our lower inner ribs. And what we want to do is make that expand. That brings more air into your lungs. It makes your stomach kind of poke out when you breathe in like that. And you know what? Babies are naturals at this. This is very instinctual. So you see, when babies breathe, their tummies go out. And when we breathe like this, we only do it usually when we're sleeping, because it elicits relaxation. And so we need to kind of pause and focus on that and say, okay, instead of doing these short, quick, shallow breaths, let's do the low, slow, deep breaths. So this is something you can do with your entire family. If you feel like everyone's stressed out, okay, let's take a breathing break. Do some low, slow breath.
I'm doing it right now. Everything you're going to tell us, I'm going to practice on screen.
I'm already feeling soothed. I'm like, breathing. Okay, next letter.
Okay, so the next letter is E for earthing. So earthing is this concept that I just learned about recently. I've been doing it for a few weeks, also known as grounding. And it's really cool because it actually, studies are showing that it might lower your blood pressure, help you to control your mood, and just calm down. And so what it is actually connecting your body with the earth, earthing. And the easiest way to do it is just go barefoot. And so this is what I've been doing the last few weeks. I go out in my backyard, take off my shoes. I take my little babies out there, take off their shoes. And we all just practice earthing. It's a moment to really just connect with nature. And not only that, you're also getting some sun rays, right? Which gives us vitamin D. All of these things really help improve our health. I have noticed a difference for myself. I'm not only calmer, but I'm also having a moment where I'm just like in gratitude for this beautiful earth, my calm life for that.
Love it.
I
Okay,
like
keep
that.
going.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is talk and thoughts. So psychologists promote this idea that's called name it to tame it. So what that means is a lot of times we have like all these feelings and emotions, and if you call it out loud what you're feeling, if you can tell somebody, it actually helps your brain to calm down. Works really well for toddlers. If you can help them understand what emotion they're feeling, if you can say you're feeling anger or you're feeling stress, that actually helps them to calm down. So to find someone to talk to, that can really help you to cope with your stress. And then with our thoughts, sometimes our minds are just racing. And what we need to do is sit down, take a moment, and say what thoughts are triggering this stress, and then change the narrative. Maybe find a way to rephrase what you're thinking and make it positive thoughts to help you down.
I think that we've all been feeling like that agitation, irritation. So instead of just allowing that to build, we maybe need to tell, I'm frustrated with my surroundings. This is a new norm. So like identify it and maybe tell our people so they know what we're thinking, feeling.
And there's this concept of auto suggestion where your brain and your body actually believe the words that they hear. So it really helps to say these positive things out loud, like positive affirmations, like I am calm, I am relaxed. When your brain hears that, it actually starts to believe you and it calms your body down.
Interesting.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do too. Okay, adrenaline burn.
Okay.
You need to do what?
Yeah, when we get stressed out, our body pumps adrenaline. Now, this is really useful if you are playing sports or running a race, but if you're just sitting at your desk having adrenaline pumping through you, that can cause some problems. It can increase your blood pressure. It can obviously just make you feel terrible. And so, the only way to get rid of adrenaline is through cardiovascular exercise or aerobic exercise. So what that is like increasing your heart rate and breathing hard, doing something physical. So you could walk or run, you could do dance, you could swim or bike. And I definitely practice this. If I start to feel some adrenaline pumping through my body, then I say, okay, kids, let's have a dance party. And we turn on some music and dance. And that helps us to all calm down.
I love it. That's a fun option. Go walk around the block or get out and jump on the trampoline with the kids.
I usually start doing yard work. I go outside and just then I can be in nature. I can do some earthing along with my adrenaline run.
There you go. I think I go to cleaning if I'm home. Put some like Bon Jovi or Aerosmith back from the 80s. Pull that.
A Metallica, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm suddenly just like cleaning like mad and feeling good.
That's funny. I've noticed that the Def Leppard come out a little bit more during this as well.
We're aging ourselves.
We are indeed. Poor Jenny, you probably don't even know who they are.
Oh, I do.
Okay, so what's next?
Okay, so we don't have a ton of time left, but let's talk about M. It's muscle relaxation. So when you get stressed out, what happens to your muscles? What happens to your neck, shoulders, and your back? Get all crunched up and tight and sore. And so we need to physically relax those muscles. And there's different ways you can do that. Of course, you can get a massage, which is always a thing. We can do stretching and yoga. A technique I really like called progressive muscle relaxation. So what you do is you kind of take a scan of your body. You're like, oh, I'm feeling tension in my neck. And what you do is you flex those muscles as hard as you can for several seconds, and then you relax them. So if you guys want to try it with me, we can do our shoulders. Okay, ready?
Okay.
We're gonna flex them as hard as we can. Oh, it hurts so much. Okay. We're breathing too. Let's breathe too.
Oh.
We're gonna relax them. Relax. And it helps those muscles relax into deeper relaxation. So you can start at the top of your head and go all the way down your body. It's a great activity to do with family. You can say, okay, progressive muscle relaxation time.
Oh,
another tool.
I suddenly want to go into yoga. Do you have a Y?
No, but we have an E.
Yes.
What is it?
I love yoga. E is for eat right. So a lot of times when we're stressed out, what do we reach for? We reach for the easy processed foods that make us feel really good in the moment, but then we don't feel very good later on. So try and go for whole foods. Whole foods is anything that has one ingredient. There's always like the test. Is this processed or is this a whole food? If God made it, it's a whole food. Man made it, it's processed. So when we're eating whole foods, we're getting more nutrients that are helping us to really be a wholly healthy and really cope with stress.
Do you have any recommendations for trying to eat right during the times when we're just trying to kind of eat in this essential phase? I feel like some of the fresher items aren't as available as they might be normally under normal circumstances. Do you have some maybe different go-tos?
I feel you on this. I love fresh ingredients, but when they're hard to access, like you have to get creative, right? So one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I've been doing is, of course, reaching for frozen produce. One thing that
Mm-hmm.
I've done recently is I would get the big boxes of spinach and then I'd freeze them. And you
Mm-hmm.
can take the frozen spinach, you can put that in smoothies, you can put it in a stir fry, and it makes the spinach last a lot longer. So that's one of my tricks that I've been using because I just love knowing that I'm getting those fresh ingredients, but they've been frozen. So it helps and helps preserve the nutrients.
All right. So awesome. Well, if people want to learn more about you, your program, where to reach out to you, where can we do that?
So I created a free download for everyone. You can get
Yay.
the bee tamer method. The last step we didn't talk about was rest, but get good night's sleep. You can get
Mm-hmm.
this for free as a download. You can save it or share it or print it. Just go to relaxationboost.com. Relaxationboost.com.
I love it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I already feel less stressed, so thank you.
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
Thanks, Jenny.
Next on Studio Chatter, learning to thrive in isolation. That's coming right up. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. A familiar face has joined us here on the Brady Bunch. Say hi to Connie Sokol. What? Can we really thrive in isolation?
Hey, I want to say hi, Marcia.
No, I feel like Jan. Who's Jan, right? Marcia. Yes, we can totally thrive in this. And I think that's the lens that I'm going to sound. My daughter said the other day, it's too positive in this house, Mom. So I really do, honestly, there is this beautiful lens that we can look through, and it doesn't mean it takes extra energy. We just get to choose to look through it in this thriving way rather than just white knuckle and survive through it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
You could stop right there, and I think I would get like a reality check. And we've already talked about this between the three of us a little bit when we started off, that I was a little bit ornery the first week or two, just kind of shifting. But this week I have felt a little bit more, okay, I think I'm getting into my new groove. I'm liking it. I'm
Yes.
cutting out
Creating
so
a
much
new habit
time in
or
commuting. Like take that chunk of commuting time, and then you get all this other time. So
Absolutely.
there's some definite advantages.
I think when we really focus on those advantages, I think it would be the kind of thing that when it's over, we'll look back and say, oh, I wish, if we don't, we're going to look back and say, I wish I would have really appreciated that. Kind of like my kids who look back now at, elementary school. And I wish I would have appreciated 2 recesses, instead of whining.
Right.
But I think there's so much good. And I'm talking to women, they're posting, they're sharing with me what's been the best and the worst. And so many are saying more time with family. Like you were saying, slower pace. And when they're allowing themselves to do a new rhythm and take time to it took me a good week or two to kind of for us to get into a rhythm. And because all my stuff is online anyway, so I was actually busier than usual. And then my kids are home. So I was choreographing so I could keep punks with the kids. And it all has worked so beautifully. And I think this is an important thing. This having this gratitude and positive feel to this will shift the dynamic in our home and will affect our kids and our spouse positively as we have this positive energy about this of, wow, look at the time we get to spend. Look, I get to cook with you. Look, we get to go for walks together. All of those things really matter.
Yeah,
Connie,
I do
you're
agree.
just like a light of sunshine.
She is. I know my husband got a little 2-month leave from his work, and so we're like, oh wow, okay, darn. And then all of a sudden we started being like, oh wow, this is awesome. It's like mini retirement. We're planning projects, taking walks, but it is kind of a mind shift. At first, I had to like be structured like we were before, so I felt like I had to fill in that extra time with stuff. And now it's okay just to be a little bit and to let ourselves relax a minute.
Absolutely. And I think that is one of the first main points that I want to bring up is to keep a rhythm, whatever that is. And different women were posting, and some were getting stressed out because they had their homeschool down with all color coded and everything. And women were like, okay, stop it. Okay. So I think giving ourselves permission to say, you know what? This is what works for our family. And this is what we need. And we've been able to say, okay, what's the important thing? Bookends. We need to see each other in the morning and see each other in the night. And then I asked my kids, how many times you guys want to do meals together in a day? My kids were like, one family meal is great because we spend a lot of time together, kind of in and out of what we do. Another lady, she posted and she said, we're doing 3 meals a day and I love it. Now, I don't want to spend my whole day in the kitchen. And my kids are like, we want free lunch, meaning that means they can go and eat whatever they like, but they have to have a protein, a carb, and a fruit and a veg. Okay. But it's a free meal. They can choose what they want and they love that. So I think that the rhythm, choosing your rhythm. So again, I encourage bookends so that like we start the day with a scripture strip and a prayer and the hey, what's going on today? And we end the day the same way. And then we have our win for the day. What's been your win? And then we say, is there anything going tomorrow? Like when online schooling, we're on spring break now, but like online schooling, what's going on? What do you need? What things, assignments, that. And this is a really important thing right now for a lot of women who are doing online schooling. And again, we can go extremes. And this is a trauma. A psychologist was saying a global pandemic is a trauma. So people recognize it. Everyone handles it differently. Some people become hyper vigilant and some people become really hypo vigilant, where some people are do this and they're anxious and others are like, oh. So on the online schooling, really approach it in a way that works for you. Now, some people have it rigid because school mandates that. But if you have choice, I so invite you as a mom, just like you were saying, Angela, just not trying to keep it the way it was before. That's not the point of this. I've allowed my kids, I've said, okay, time chunk, 9 to 12. That's when we're basically doing school. But my older kids, I'm like, take it as you need it. So they'll take a break. They'll go do something else. They'll come back in an hour and a half and they'll do some more. And they've loved it, doing their pajamas, just relax. So I think as moms, we can find a rhythm that works for us and it feels good. Like, okay, we're getting breathers and okay, let's go for a walk. Okay, then let's just do another half an hour reading right now. That kind of.
I think that's so healthy, and one of the things I've always appreciated about you is the positive energy. Just because what works for us, or we're not in that season, or put a band-aid on it until we make it normal again. I mean, whatever it is that works for you. And I mean, it's so good to kind of refill my cup of Connie, to just listen to that and be like, oh my gosh, this is so great, because I try to be as structured as I can, but we were used to working at home also. And then all of a sudden you have kids on top of that. And so, yes, you still have to brush your teeth in the morning. Yes, you still have to put on these clothes, but the school is ish. And they have new online responsibilities also that they're even logging into. I mean, when your 9-year-old says, I have a Zoom meeting I'm logging into, you're like, okay, well, that's the new.
Yeah, let me help you get on. I think, yeah. This is so true. And all of these things are so new. And I think allowing ourselves, just giving everybody grace and being able to say, you know what, let's think outside the box. Let's give ourselves flexibility. I know that one of the other pieces so important is staying connected, but we can be creative with that. I know one friend of mine, she's reading, she's a grandma, she's reading to her kids at night over FaceTime and Zoom. That's what
so
they're
cute.
doing. Another lady, she had her kids came in heart attack. They would feel close to them. I mean, there's all these creative things that we can do. And I think we can look at this as like, oh, well, then how can we draw outside the lines for a moment? And we get to, because everybody's on the same playing page. We all have to be doing it this way, which is great.
It's amazing when we think back over history that never before that I ever remember in my life that all of us are on the same page and have permission to mess up, because we're all learning. We're all new to this. This virus is unexpected. We don't know what it is. We're all trying to manage it. And so when people are on Zoom calls, I've loved watching Jimmy Fallon, because he's home doing his things and his kids are on top of him and putting hats on. And it's just like, we're all home. It's not just like he's homesick.
It's
we're all home.
Don't you think it's making everyone more real, and we're having to communicate differently, and so it's pulling us outside of that comfort zone. But also, I just have had this sense of like peace and calm, like this last week.
Yeah.
Like, I really like this. I maybe don't want parts of this to change after.
And I think that's the key point. And I've been talking with women about that, where after this, how will we be changed by it? When we went through, my community went through the fire, we said, when we come back, we should not be doing things the same. We should be changed by it. And that very thing, what do we want to keep? We want to keep that slowness, but society's going to rev up. So what can we do to keep the things that we know we love now?
How? Honestly, because you think our schedules are tight. Are people really going to have to consciously choose no more of this?
I don't think it's going to be, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be so extreme. I think the sort of finding our way in, we're going to find our way back out, and we're going to have to let it sift. And I think, again, being open, just being able to be open to saying, I used to think that I had to have every child in a sport. And guess what? I don't feel that way. I think we can do it this way. And I think people are going to give each other more of a pass and not have such a social judgment, because of going through this, there'll be a common understanding. And that's so crucial for community. We may even have different ways that we go about our talents, our sports, and things like that. I'm interested to see what changes from this, because I'm already seeing dominoes happen that I don't know are going to be able to be undone so easily. So I think it's good. Anytime we graft in new thinking, new ways of being, is a good, healthy infusing with new juice thing. So I'm excited to see what happens.
I love that. Like a commonality has now been brought to all of us with this. Yeah.
So, Connie, we all probably struggled going into this, but I do foresee a little bit that we're going to struggle maybe going back out of this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
I would so encourage, and this is one of the things that I'm sharing with women, is if we focus on the virus or focus on, I've got to get the schedule and everything, we focus on that, we're going to have our stress level is going to go high, our cortisol, we're going to be craving carbs, because that's not what we should be focusing on. This is part of our life, but we don't have to shift our focus from what we already know we should be doing. I always go back to purpose and identity, like a chord on a piano, because going with our who we are and what we're to do keeps us focused on that progression. In fact, I have this quote, if we have a second for it, by Sherry Dew. It's just so perfect. I love it. She says, our spirits crave to progress. If we aren't moving forward, we're not happy. We crave the feeling of moving forward, learning, growing, and improving, even if our steps forward are small and intermittent. That is why the lack of even modest progress leads to disillusionment and discouragement, whereas steady progress instills peace of mind and optimism. So if we focus on the virus, we're going to hear all the bad news. We're going to be drawn to all this negativity. But if we focus on progression, what am I progressing in? I've started playing the piano again. My kids love hearing it. They're like, Mom, you play the piano. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's pretty decent. And I've been painting again. And I'm doing, and they have every day they have a thing called talent time, and they can choose their talent. What do you want to do your talent in? And it's this focus on moving forward. What does that look like? Is it a course? I have women who are doing my programs, and they're like, it was the craziest thing for me to think, wow, I started this now with the virus. And they said it has helped so much, because they're focused on learning new things, and then they're sharing it with their families, coping skills and positivity, and they're fabulous, and they're moving forward, creating a life plan. So they're moving forward, and this coronavirus is not the focus. So I think coming out of it, it's so much easier when our focus stays steady and we're moving and improving, and then we're not focused on this thing, because this thing is going to come and go. But this, we can keep focused on that, and we can take it in, push it out, take it in, push it out. And that movement in and out of that transition will be so much easier.
Wow, that whole concept. Really great advice. Wow. Okay, let's take a moment, catch our breath. When we come back, Connie will still be with us. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the chatter. Our next topic with Connie is one that we've never thought about. We'll let you set the stage, Connie.
Oh, you bet. I've just had so many women talking to me about this big wave and influx of returning missionaries who are serving for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And these families are just as discombobulated as the missionaries, thinking, what do we do now? We were thinking, we had this expectation that this was going to be their mission, their experience. And now it's been cut short, or they're having troubles getting home, and they're finally coming home, but they're coming home to quarantine and a lack of jobs. And if they're being released, then they're like, well, schools admissions are often stalled. And so like one missionary I interviewed, I talked to, he said, we're coming back to less than normal. So it's not even hard enough when you come home to normal, but it's less than normal. So the families and the missionaries are both trying to figure out coping skills. And that's what I wanted to address, is how to help that.
Can I ask you, did you have a missionary?
I do.
Had to come home early? Okay.
She's not home, but she's in France. I do have a missionary and she's in France, but she's staying put. She's one of the few. I understand there's been over 34,000 that have come home, and there's about 30,000 that are still out. And so mainly in Europe East, if I have that correct, but that's my understanding. And it was Taiwan for a bit, but now the Taiwan missionaries are coming home. So there's an agility that needs to be there between families and missionaries, and an ability to have that neuroplasticity, that ability to go with the flow and just have your agile sea legs to be able to say, that's okay, what's coming, that's okay. And that's, I think, a mindset that we need to shift to. But before we can shift to that, I think the first thing is we have to acknowledge the loss. I did a webinar, a free webinar, and the women are welcome to have that. If you want the replay, it's at hello@conniesokol.com, or you can just go to conniesokol.com and it's up in the little corner. You can just click on it. It's a free hour webinar, and I go in depth to all of these things that are good tips. But I have, my guest is Dr. Trish Barris. She's assistant professor at U of U. She owns the Imperius Addiction Recovery Center. She does depression, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she gave great tips, and we talked about this loss of anticipation and expectation of how their life was going to go, this grief, this all it kind of two extremes of some kids are coming home, they've been in quarantine for 4 or 5 weeks and they're super happy to be home and done. They just done, right? But they've come home to quarantine, and others on the other end are just sad, they're mad, they're frustrated. I was doing so great. What happened? This is not my fault. And I think it's good to go back to this assurance, this acknowledgement of the loss, and then go back to the assurance. David A. Bednar has said in a beautiful talk, Called to Serve. I invite everyone to read it that is struggling with this at all. But he says, you're called to serve, not to a location. So have that assurance that in the church, that's that belief, it's a prophet of God that they're called by. So if a prophet of God calls you to go on a mission, he's called you to come home. You're good. Everything in between means that was what you were to fulfill. And whatever comes on from there and you decide will be that adjunct to the pieces of your mission. So there's nothing that's been missed. This is all part of the package deal. And I think we need to wrap our minds around that. I think it's hard for the parents and the siblings to know how to be encouraging. Do you encourage them to stay? Do you encourage them to go? Do you encourage them to start getting back into life and do school? And what do you do? And moms have been asking me this, and I have said, this is the missionary's path. It is their choice. So we as a family, we can encourage, invite, we can persuade, we can support, we can love and nurture. But at the end of the day, it is this missionary's choice. It is their life, and they will be the ones that will bear that, whatever that is. If it's a burden or a blessing, they will bear that for themselves. So we can be the ones that can give them confidence. We can go to them and say, you know what? If you want to talk options, I'm right here. And I have thoughts on that if you want to hear it. But guess what? I have so much confidence in you. You've been living on your own essentially for months, for however long. I know that you can get your answer for this. And I know you can feel peace about it. And that's what we're all praying for. And that's what we're encouraging you to find. So does that make sense? That it's different than us feeling that we've got to fix this. That's not our job. It's encouraging and supporting them to find their way.
And I think everyone is kind of on a different page coming home. I talked to one mom with her son coming home, and she was so excited. I'm like, are you just loving? And is he loving being home? And she goes, no, he's devastated to be home. Like, he didn't realize anything big was going on there. And then he comes home and sees us in this quarantine habit, and he's just like out of his loop and his realm. Other ones are like dying to come home and wanting to be here with their family during this time. So I think what you're saying is so true, that it is the missionary's path, maybe, and we're taking it, maybe it does affect us personally.
Yes.
But it is still their journey and their mission.
And I think being candid about that. And one missionary I talked to, I said, is there something you wish that your family knew? And he said, I wish they would know that if I'm having a bad day, or if I have an emotion that goes through me, it's not them. It's not personal. I thought that was so wise because we're all going to be hyper vigilant to how are they doing? Are they okay? And being able to just be candid with each other. You know what? On a scale of 1 to 10, and scale of 1 to 10 is awesome. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like at a 5 right now. I'm having a wave. We call it waves in our house. Well, I'm having a wave and it's going to wash over, but I just need to go sometime myself or whatever. And I think it's great if we can have that kind of candid conversation with each other. And for those, like you said, there's different situations. There are missionaries still out there, about 30,000, like mine. And their situation is different where they're like, I'm quarantined and I still have a calling to serve and share a message, right? And my daughter, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking and we talked for a couple of hours, brainstorming ideas. I said, well, find out what your companion's talents are and yours are, and then how can you use those talents to share your message differently? We called it Teach Outside the Box. And she found different ways to do hyperlapse art to share her message. Another missionary that I talked to, Riley, he just got back from Japan. He's early release. He only had a couple months left. And I said, is there any suggestions you would give? And he said, yeah. He said, in Japan, and I served in Japan years, many moons ago. And he said, it's so hard there. If they want to hear about something, their work schedule is insane. So to drive to a church, listen to a message, and then drive and go on a train back is crazy. But he said, we started going, well, can you do a 10-minute Skype? Because they're quarantined. And they're like, yeah. So he said, if I was to go back out, I would do a 10-minute Skype. So look at the beauty of the way things are shifting, the way we're looking at being able to share a heartfelt message in a genuine, authentic way that is natural to us. Wow. How beautiful is that? So wonderful things can come of this. And I think as families, we can encourage whatever situation our missionaries are in, whether they're still out, whether they're home in their quarantine, whether they're early release, or they're deciding if they're going to go out, know that all of it is good. It's all part of the package deal. And there's nothing in there that says that they have done something wrong or that they haven't fully served. Not at all. In fact, if anything, Dave, what's his name? Weidman, I think, from the MTC, the Missionary Training Center, said, these missionaries, the ones coming home, this experience will impact them positively for decades. And the ones that are out are going to do incredible things because of what's coming. So it's a win-win. We just have to see it through that lens.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I certainly don't have a missionary out. That's years away, but and that one of the nuggets to take from this, Connie, is the waves, and I think that can affect whether you're a missionary, whether you're a missionary mom, whether you're just the support system, or just just Natasha or whomever. I think it's fair that everybody has kind of those waves, and I'm just today's a 5. I'm not having a great day. Like it's a little overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes you can feel really positive about it. We went out, we did service today, and I think that's very normal for anybody, and just trying to support that, all encompassing.
And
so great
to
so
support
great.
like anyone, like whatever their decision is or whatever their missionary happens to be doing, don't pass judgment or don't put your 2 cents. Just appreciate their journey and just support them in whatever is going on.
Absolutely.
Bingo. And that is the bottom line. One mom on the webinar, she posted, she said, I'm so disappointed he doesn't want to go back out. And I said, go talk to a friend. Go talk to a therapist. Do not say this to your child because it's not our deal. We are there to support what they feel is best for them, no matter how it might be for us. And again, that candor, you know what? I trust you. I trust you. And even if inside you don't, you're like, you're young and you're being idiotic. You don't know, right? Just talk to a friend about that. Go for a walk. But this is a beautiful moment as families to come together and to be autonomous with each other and say, you know what? That's your path. And I'm so excited to support you in that. And we love you. Love, love, love. At the end of the day, just does it lead to love? That's what we can focus on.
You're the best, Connie. Thank you so
Amen.
much.
Thanks
Virtual
for
hug.
inviting me. It was so fun.
All right. See you next time that you come back to the chatter. There's more studio chatter coming right up. Welcome back. Are you feeling motivated?
Yes. Wow. We just wrapped up with Connie, and she just made me realize that this is all my choice of how I feel during this next month. Because a week ago, I was like, I'm entering the longest month of my
You
life.
did tell us that.
What kind of attitude is that? I've got to
know, and
shape
now
up,
I'm like,
girls.
hold on to it. Like, Rick's manager just said, could you come back in and do some piecework? And I was like, no, don't go back. Like, stay. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky. I loved her thoughts about that. I don't know. She was just really awesome with everything. I could have sat and listened to her forever.
Yeah, I get so mesmerized. Like I don't even start thinking of questions with a lot of guests. I'm like, oh, I need to ask this or this, but she covers everything so beautifully and so quickly that when she's done talking, I'm just like, wow, I just need to let it soak in.
I think like the question pops and then she answers it like before you
Maybe
even
that's it.
like ask it. Yeah, she's good.
Well, yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt, Ange. But I think you're right, and not even. I mean, Connie for sure, but I think now that what three people would you want to be trapped on a desert island with? I think it's these three ladies that we had tonight.
True.
Because
I mean, they were good.
We'd be journaling, we'd be having some positivity, we'd be breathing, we'd be getting all of that sunshine in. In a time like
we would
this,
be so happy we were trapped on a deserted island.
We could call
Riding
it
our
positive
highs and
island.
lows all day
Yes,
long.
Well, and like Connie said too, I mean, I love that she always has some, I call it a Connieism, but just even talking about the waves again, I mean, it's so normal to kind of feel that, but really to choose positivity, to thrive in isolation or coronavirus, or having just the mindset that this is going to pass and we'll be back together in the studio again. And
we'll be but like to embrace some of that, like to go through this, but then to take some of that stuff that we have loved about this and carry that on with us. And I think that's going to be my new mindset right now is what parts of these do I want to carry with us after.
I like that. And Natasha, right when she said, we're on a wave, I saw you write down, I'm like, okay, we're going to hear this, Angie, for the next couple months. But Natasha's on a wave and she's still in a 5 because she always has her little Connieisms that no, it's true. You're like, I'm not in this stage. Remember, Connie said this and Connie said that. She quotes Connie all the time.
I really do. Like, I'm a fan. And I
the Bible for you.
A wave somewhere.
Just say wave.
I know, I saw you.
I know. I take my notes, but she has been, I mean, I really feel like she and I kind of have the same lives in some regards. Like, I know she has her little caboose and she has worked from home. And so there's a lot of similarities, I guess. So she says, and I'm like, yes, we are not in that season. Yes, I'm going to give you some chocolate. Yes, well, I can do this. Yeah. And you feel that energy. And literally when she's in studio, when somebody has that great energy, you're like,
right.
I feel myself drawing near her stuff, or even into the camera.
Well, but I want to be like Katie and get an RV and go travel, guys. Like that kind of sparks an interest in me. I think she's great.
Neat people, and to come up, and I'm imagining Jenny at home with her kids, and let's have a dance party, and I get cranky, and I'm like, put this stuff away.
Change your mindset. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you do. Like when all of a sudden your work is at home and your kids are at home, and nobody outside is practicing social distancing or something, and you have to be the big bad mom. You're just like, why am I not enjoying this more? And you really do have to kind of make a choice. I mean, we've done some service things that just, you fill your heart, and you're like, oh, okay, okay, everything's gonna be okay.
Guys, something just hit me. Like we should do a podcast. This is just reminding me of a podcast. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
No, we may be doing a podcast. Be careful what you wish for, young lady.
Oh yes, okay. I do miss you guys.
This was fun doing it, and I think this has been one of our most positive episodes we've ever done. My hope would be that our viewers, as they watch this, that they can also have that shift internally that I felt tonight listening to everyone. That this isn't going to last forever. While I'm here, do my very best to enjoy it or take the positive pieces away.
Yeah, don't take it for granted. I think when you go through something, sometimes you just see that negativity, and instead let's just look at the positive and try and pull that out.
Yeah.
In our nice Mia's outfits tonight.
Exactly.
All dressed up on the top.
Yes. They're still offering curbside. You can still schedule your one-on-one shopping. They'll deliver it to your house. The spring fashions are in. They're posting those daily. You can go virtual shopping with them. Just give them a call. They are muy bueno.
Well, I can't wait to wear this cute shirt. I
Somewhere.
walked from my bedroom closet to my living room. It's a little dressed up. I can't wait to go outside somewhere maybe to a
I think when I
restaurant.
watch-
Imagine.
Stacy, maybe when you watch Tiger King tonight, you can wear this like you're on a date.
I really think right after this, I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to go put on my sweatpants or my
Yes.
pajamas.
Or you could borrow this number so you feel just right in.
Save your nice shirt for your coming out party.
Great idea.
All right. Thanks for being here with us. We hope that you enjoyed the chatter. We'll see you again next time.
Bye.